Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's good to have you again, all. And we're welcome to our Right Way podcast that we normally push every sort of couple of weeks. And it's really, really important to just say thank you again for taking time over your lunch period. Hopefully, you've got pen and paper, some sandwiches, coffee, whatever you need. We're going to be really going through a fantastic session today. And it's going to be something slightly different in the sense that normally, as you well know, if you've been on these podcasts before, we have a couple of people. But I thought I just wanted to bring the creme de la creme to the table. It's none of these, people understood stuff. I want people who really can bring some value to you today. So I just want to just sort of share a little bit about what we're going to be doing, first of all. And then obviously I want to introduce you to our special guest, Terry, as well, who will introduce you as part of that process as well. So again, thank you again to coming onto our podcast today. And really simple, couple of introductions. Obviously, I'm going to introduce myself and also Terry. And then we're just going to go straight into the discussions. Got a number of questions for Terry, but I'm sure he will just go through some of the things that he believes are important for businesses to really to get their head around and using LinkedIn to drive the business growth. And that's important. It's not a matter of theoretical stuff that we're going through. It's how can we take some of these key learnings and apply in our business today. So that's why I'm saying get a pen and paper, think about your business, think about how to do things. Clearly, you'll be able to contact Terry and myself at the end of the day. But ultimately, that's really important as well. As you can see, we're on all the social media platforms, LinkedIn Live, YouTube, X, and Facebook Live. Each one will have a chat facility there. If you want to, put a question in, that burning question for Terry and myself, probably less so for myself, Terry, of course, then we'll be able to then answer that as well in appropriate time as well, possibly at the end, but we'll see how it goes. I'm really flexible. And it is important that we answer some of those questions that you may have as well. So be ready to do that. So without further ado, really, I'd just like to introduce you to Terry as well. So welcome, Terry.
Hello, it's good to be with everybody.
How are you, sir? You good?
I am good. Yeah, it's good. And thank you very much for the invite and to be able to jump on here and just share some stuff today. I did get excited and grab myself a pen because you said about listening to the creme de la creme, and I thought, who else is joining us? Let's take some notes.
I'm here.
So, yeah, hopefully between us today, we can give out a lot of value that people can walk away with and use and apply in their business, and it will actually be a benefit to people. So that's my personal aim today. I like to share the value that just people can pick up and go with. I don't want to fill people's heads with lots of theory that we never know what to do with. So
there you go.
Practical.
So tell us a little bit about obviously yourself as well, and what's brought you to this element where you're really focusing around LinkedIn. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about Maverick, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Terry Heath, and I'm the director of training at Maverick. That's a role that I've recently come into. I used to be the operating officer at Maverick, but I just made a bit of a switch and a change recently. And what brought me to LinkedIn was around about 6 years ago. Like a lot of people, change of career brings around changes in the way that we work or jobs and opportunities that we have. And I got the opportunity to work with Dean Seddon. Now, if you've come across Dean Seddon, he's the CEO of Maverick. This guy has devoted himself to really looking at the social media channels. How do we use them for business? And around about 6 years ago, decided let's really focus in on LinkedIn. I always give credit to Dean. Dean saw the potential of LinkedIn way before a lot of companies woke up to what was happening on the platform. So 6 years ago, just to give you some background, we're looking at a platform that was around about 330,000 users. Today, that is 1 billion. Dean saw it back then and said, look, if we put everything into LinkedIn, we can really work, understand this platform, really become the experts, and then we can work to leverage the platform and help other companies just increase their sales, increase their brand awareness. Key leaders start positioning themselves as authoritative voices on the platform. And so effectively, that's what we've done in the last 6 years. So we're known as a very generous company with our time and our knowledge. We're always out working with companies of all shapes and sizes. So just to give you some background, really, because people are like, who is he? He looks like he's in his back bedroom with the unit behind him there. Is look, we're working with everybody from the small businessman right through up to companies like, believe it or not, Amazon's, the Salesforce, even Microsoft we did some work with, and some real global companies that it's been a pleasure to work with them and really unpack LinkedIn and help them leverage it.
Very good. No, I really do appreciate that. And thank you again for taking your time out, your busy schedule. With that lovely accent, obviously now you've based yourself back up in the north of England.
I am just a very recent move back to the north of England after 10 years of being in Plymouth. So it is good to be back around familiar territory.
As well. You've been telling me what was that key news a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, that key news, yes. I've aged overnight and become a granddad. So I am granddad to a little girl called Clara, and she is. I now understand what grandparents are all about. Didn't quite get it until you're a grandparent yourself. I am absolutely besotted with this little girl, and she's gorgeous. Yeah. So.
Okay, welcome to the club. Well done. Right, let's go straight into it as well. So, it's great that you sort of give that preamble about LinkedIn. And it's quite funny, in fact. I'm still amazed when I see clients and whatever it is, and in terms of what they want to do, and we help companies to grow. So our focus is on helping those businesses take that next step of growth. But one thing that is quite pertinent is that not many either leaders or even their marketing teams are really utilizing the power of LinkedIn to drive business growth. And so just tell me why, in your experience, obviously you guys have got a hell of a lot of experience of this now. What can you what's so special about LinkedIn compared to all the other social media platforms that is really, really right for businesses to use it as a means of their growth accelerator elements and activities in their organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first things, just going back to what you were first saying there, is that companies are still realizing the potential of LinkedIn. And this is a very common conversation I'm having almost every week with different marketing teams and sales teams, is looking at the strategies they're currently using. And there's still a lot of people dependent upon the cold calling. Now, there is a place for cold calling, but what people are finding is, particularly since the pandemic, the landscape changed, because people are now working more and more remotely. So the traditional ring the office number, get past the receptionist, tackle the assistant to the CEO or whoever the decision maker is, all of that used to happen became so much harder. It was already hard, but it's become so much harder. What LinkedIn is giving people is the opportunity to speak directly to the person, that decision maker, through actually reaching out to them through their profile and engaging those individuals. And so having that ability, and when you understand that, and then understanding how the platform works, it's giving businesses that opportunity to take what they've already got, add LinkedIn into the mix, and actually scale up the number of sales opportunities that they're securing now. And we're continually, what's the word I'm looking for? I find the joy in opening the eyes of sales teams to the possibilities of LinkedIn. Now, I'm dealing with everybody, all the age ranges, everybody from the 60-year-olds down to the 18-year-old who's just entered the work environment. And everybody's pretty much the same. They come in and go, LinkedIn, isn't it like just business Facebook? It's actually not as entertaining as Facebook. And and then that first impressions, yes, that's what you would think. But actually, no, the way the platform works is different, and understanding the mechanics of the platform, once you've unpacked that for people, you suddenly get those light bulb moments and they go, oh my word. So where I used to pick up the phone and try and get people on the phone, I might get 2 or 3 good conversations a day. I could be having 2 to 3 conversations concurrently in a morning and an afternoon, and I'm scaling this up really. And it's exactly it.
Just tell me about the cold calling element as well, because again, as you rightly point out, what we're saying, folks, is that use any social media as part of the overall sales mix of activity that you do. So it's not sort of not oh my gosh, we're going to build everything now on social media. No, all our part of the marketing mix is really super important as part of the sales mix as well. But just tease out this element of cold calling a little bit more for me, Terry, because I think for me, as you rightly point out, most people, they have a shopping list of names that they don't understand or whatever it is, and
Mm-hmm.
they just sort of may have got that from some of the business development people that they may have with them, or somebody who's giving them leads. But it's more than that, isn't it? What I'm saying is that it adds some elements to the cold calling process, which traditional cold calling doesn't do.
Yeah.
So if you can just tease out the elements of that, I didn't want to put
Yeah.
words in your mouth, but hopefully you know what I'm trying to say.
Well, probably the best way of illustrating is this. Very recently, I'm working with a company, and I asked them, "What is your sales strategy? Basically, what is the approach?" And they would go, "Right. So we start with the cold calling. If we can't get them there, we go to cold email. If we don't get them there, then as a last resort, we'll go to LinkedIn and see if we can find them there." After talking to them, I said, "Look, take your strategy and reverse it." And so now what they do is they start on LinkedIn. And the beauty about LinkedIn is that you can create familiarity on that platform.
Yeah.
Your face is there, your name is there. People start seeing a face now, and they're putting a name to the face inside of the company. And then there was the cold email, which is that outreach. It's the campaign message, whatever it may be. And then at the end comes the call. And that's the process that I'm using day in and day out. LinkedIn, email, then call. And doing that. What is happening by the time I get to the call, I'm no longer a stranger.
There you go.
They bumped into me on LinkedIn. They've seen it. They may have had an email from me already. So by the time I get a phone call, it's like, yeah, I'll take the call, and we'll chat. And we build up a rapport on LinkedIn very, very quickly, and it just opens up the door for a more direct communication, like the cold calling. And so, if you're doing that strategy at the moment, where it's cold call first, and yeah, gosh, if you're still doing cold calling today, congratulations, but it's hard work, and it's you've got to be of a certain mental capacity to keep doing that day after day. But look, just flip it around, create familiarity, and then put cold calling in later in the whole process, and you'll find it's far more successful.
And it's quite funny, in fact, because ultimately, what you're doing, you're making cold calling warm calling. And that's the bit I'm always saying to folk before, cold calling, you're hitting people off guard. They don't recognize your name. You're trying to go for gatekeepers, blah, blah, blah. And this is for me, this is the super powerful element of LinkedIn. Before, you having to get through, and people are getting a bit smarter. Gatekeepers are quite tough now.
Oh, yeah.
To get through. Sorry, they don't know you, or I'll reach out to them and blah, 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 whatever. And you're just fobbed off most of the time. And I'm finding that by saying, oh, by the way, I've spoken to this person on a conversation, or dropped them an email, or whatever it is, they have to put me through.
Yeah.
Because I've already established a rapport and whatever in relation to the discussion. So cold calling becomes warm calling as well. But also, I think what really powerful, you may want to speak to this, Terry, as well. Tell people about the quality of qualifying. And this is the bit that most salespeople don't know. They go for a shopping list of names and whatever it is. But the best salespeople, they qualify those contacts before. Mm-hmm. And tell us about LinkedIn and how that used to qualify.
Oh, my goodness. When See, one of the things that I enjoy the most about LinkedIn is my ability to be able to filter that audience down to who is actually interested in what I have to offer.
There you go.
And there's multiple ways of doing that on LinkedIn. Obviously, the most obvious is if I'm posting content regularly, it's like I'm talking without being present. So I get the opportunity to communicate. I address the pain points that a typical client would have. I deal with the objections, the myths about social selling, all those sort of things. So I'm educating, I'm training people in the topic and evidencing that I know what I'm talking about. What that's actually doing is bringing people down the sales journey, down that buyer's journey. So typically, and this was a stat from LinkedIn last year, is that they're saying typically in the sales negotiations is people are 60% down the buyer's journey before I actually enter the conversation.
Yeah.
So they see everything that I'm posting. They see what I'm talking about. I see videos. They might have jumped on a podcast, a webinar like this, And so they're gathering information about who you are. They understand the company, the products and services you have to offer, and they're making those assessments. Is, would this be good for us? Is there a benefit for engaging with this particular company or individual? And that's what it's helping to do. And so by being able to measure who's coming in, who's engaging on things like these, like the podcasts, these are the people who have got a deeper interest in who you are and what you have to offer. There are mechanisms, what I've tried to go into them, things like smart links, which are available under the Sales Navigator Advanced package, that just give you the ability to track people's interactions with your content and different assets like ebooks and promotional videos, website visits, all of those sort of things. And that's where I spend my time. I spend my time with the people who are already showing an interest towards us, me as an individual, our company and our products and services. If you've not heard about it as well, and if you're using, let's say you're using the Sales Navigator package, if you're on the basic one, here's a tip. For a few extra pounds, upgrade to the next level, which is advanced. Inside of there is what's called buyer intent. Now, buyer intent is a bunch of metrics that work together to tell you who's interested you. So it's who's visiting your website, who's visiting your profile, the profiles of people in your company, who's visiting your company page on LinkedIn. All of this stuff is coming together, and it's giving them a scoring of, was it low, medium, and high? I spend all of my time around lists of people who are showing high intent towards our company, our products and services, which just speeds up the whole sales process for me. I don't have to do the, hey, I'm just circling back after sending that email. We all get those emails and we all ignore them. You know, the circling back one for me, I don't know about anybody. I always feel like it's a shark, and I'm just put off by that. What, you're just circling me? Leave me alone, please. But these are the perceptions we build up around all those sort of approaches. But being able to engage with somebody and say, I see you're interested in, or you've shown a liking for this particular thing, or you've visited this a number of times. Can I ask, what is it you're looking for? How can we help you? Suddenly I'm in a conversation now with someone who says, actually, yes, this is what we've been looking at, looking to see if this would benefit our company. How would this work in practice? And in no time at all, you're on a video call, phone call, and you're just at length being able to build that relationship and then unpack what it would look like for them.
Yeah, buyer intent is not a sort of old feature, but it's a feature that's developing. They're using a lot of AI, LinkedIn, to try and understand people's thought patterns through their posts, etc. So just you know, it's a good tip, really good tip, and appreciate. Unfortunately, it's not in the standard Sales Navigator package. You have to pay a little bit more for that, you know, but it's well worth the investment as well, because you more likely target even further your key clients. And I just want to come back to this element of key clients as well. And I always try and identify that, you know, it's the power of LinkedIn to get to your ideal clients is unprecedented, you know, because typically there are business leaders which are less, and tell me otherwise, Terry, less likely to be on some of the other social media platforms, less so, especially if it's on the B2B element as well. So, you know, the key decision makers tend to be on LinkedIn. You know, and also more importantly, you're able to identify whether they're active or not active on LinkedIn as well. For me, and I, you know, those of you who know my podcast and that's what my thinking and my posts as well, always I'm going on about, you know, what is the pain point? What is the solution you're trying to solve? So, you know, from your perspective, can you just tease out a little bit more before we go on my next question in relation to using LinkedIn to get to an understanding of what those pain points of those key clients are in the process?
I think the first thing to say is obviously there is a whole raft of different platforms now. The biggest benefit about LinkedIn is it is a business-focused platform. Nobody goes to LinkedIn for entertainment value. That's what Facebook's for, and TikTok and all the rest of it. But here's the challenge. If you try to approach a decision maker on TikTok, on Facebook, on X, wherever it may be, they're probably there for their own personal use. This is not a business. They didn't set up their account for business. Whereas with LinkedIn, You've set it up for business purposes. Now, you might have set it up because you wanted to get a job many years ago and you've got an account that sat there dormant for years like I had. But most people are there because it's now a part of the business strategy. It's part of the business process. I'm there. I'm active on the platform. I'm looking to engage with people to sell my products and services, but at the same time, also find solutions, to find inspiration. But it's all around that business topic. So knowing that that's the community you've got, now when you're looking into it, that ability on LinkedIn to actually approach the individual, the decision maker, without having to go through the receptionist and his PA before you can even get him to talk to you, is just absolute gold dust. That ability to be able to drop the message into his inbox and initiate that conversation and then nurture that conversation just means that it's creating more and more opportunities just to engage. And I always say, look, don't go in as the salesperson, go in on the personal level. Engage with the individual first, then talk about business. Because what happens on LinkedIn invariably is people come to the platform and it's a lazy approach. Let's find a whole bunch of people I'd like to have a business conversation with. I connect, and as soon as you've connected, let me send me your sales pitch. No, don't go there. Don't do that. We're all educated on LinkedIn to go, goodbye. We don't want to talk to you because all you're going to do is hound me for the next week now with message after message. If I even give you an indication that I might want to talk to you, look, engage people on a human level. It disarms people. It sets a good tone. It builds your credibility as an individual and builds that trust element. And all of that is needed if you're going to talk about business further down the line. So, position yourself well on this platform. You will also, positioned well, you will also attract the right audience as well.
That's interesting. Good. All right. So that's a nice segue into our next question. Then, in the sense, all right, I'm sold. All right, LinkedIn is for me. Okay, and it's for the business. Yep. Okay. What do I do? How do I start? What should I do? What should what are the things I should really be getting involved with? So that I'm not spending hours and hours. Because I think a lot of people that fear that they'll get sucked into this vortex of like a Facebook type thing where you're scrolling or you're doing reels or Instagram or whatever it is, and before you know, you're just wasting time. And I know for me that was the biggest element of discipline that I had to get, focus around defining the key time for using LinkedIn. So just tell people a little bit around what to do and what to expect.
LinkedIn is no different from any other social media platform in terms of if you allow it, it will eat up your time. You'll get caught in the headlights, disappear down some random rabbit hole somewhere, and before you know what you're doing, you're watching some silly video of a dog fell off a bridge or something. And that's on LinkedIn. You're like, how did I get here? Just the same as any other platform. Look, here's some things that I would encourage you to do if you're just starting out. Number one, make sure your LinkedIn profile is complete and it's in good shape. Now, what I mean by being in good shape is don't write your profile to promote you, write your profile to attract your ideal clients. And there's a difference. The first one, promoting you, is an outward going image. It's me. Write your profile the other way around as the individual is ready to help, the individual that's here addressing the issues that your clients have. And you find that people will warm to that. Use within your profile features like the featured section. If you don't know what that is, go and have a look at add a section at the top of your profile and look under recommended. You'll see it. You can put in there links to your website. You can put in links to promotional videos. You can put case studies in there, images, high performing posts. What you're doing in the feature set, put in content that acts like the shop window. With one click, people get to relevant information that helps them on their buying journey. That's what the featured section does. But just make sure you've got a profile that is complete. Header image, profile picture is available and publicly seen. Your name is in there. Just got a little bit about your work history. Don't labor for hours over your about section, because here's just the truth. Not a lot of people will read your about section. They'll take an indication of whether they like what they see from the top part of your profile. And yep, as has been shown there, Mr. Dean Seddon, top part of the profile, and then it'll be the content that they've likely seen that brought them there. That's what they're using as the information to make decisions on. The other things to think about is really, once you've got a profile set up, and your profile is going to sit at the middle of everything you do, every time you do an interaction with somebody, if they notice, they'll come and have a look at your profile to remind themselves, who are you? What do you do? Why would you be engaging with them? And we all do that because we're human, and instinctively we're all a little bit nosy. We want to know who's the new face, the new person has suddenly appeared on my content,
There you go.
your profile. So use that to your advantage. If you're going to drive people to your profile as many times as you can, just make sure your profile is in good shape. Beyond that, then, it's about the content. What are you putting out? If it's self-promotion content, people will get bored, see through that, and they'll switch off. They'll start ignoring you. If it's content that you're putting out that helps people, benefits people, adds value to people, they will come back again and again and again. And this is where the beauty of the algorithm starts to work, that as people interact with you, the algorithm will actually start feeding other pieces of content into that person's feed. One of the things that a lot of people don't understand about LinkedIn is it's a rare social media platform. It's known as content starved, totally unlike TikTok, Instagram, all of those that are just flooded with content, more content than they can handle.
Yeah.
LinkedIn isn't. Only 3%, just under 3% of the actual user base on LinkedIn is contributing any content in a 30-day period,
Yeah.
which presents LinkedIn a challenge. That's a total other podcast. But what it does do is presents you an opportunity. As you become a consistent contributor of content, the algorithm will start to favor you. Now, it doesn't happen immediately. It tests your content, it looks at your content, and there's different ways of structuring your content to get better reach. But over time, you build a momentum behind your content, and it starts landing in front of the right people. The algorithm works to put the content in front of the people it believes will be interested in it. And most of that interest is indicated by the people who visited your profile, engaged with your connection requests, engaged with your content, all of that. And so we get that stuff. But I encourage everybody, look, I post 5 days a week, but I would not expect everybody, in fact, I probably post about 7 times a week. I wouldn't expect people to do that. The minimum would be 3 times a week. Post something from your company page. If you're a large company and you're putting out articles and blogs and news updates, one of those a week, then one that addresses a pain point, and then one that's more personally you. You know, what are you doing in your job? Which clients have you visited this week? What are the things you know today that you wish you'd known 5 years ago when you started this role? Those sort of pieces of content that just establish you. Because you have to remember that on LinkedIn, the algorithm is geared to connect an individual to an individual, not an entity or company or organization. And so that connection with you means that you have to be present. You have to digital impression, first impressions on the digital platform is the phrase I always use. That counts. And we want to make a good impression so that people warm to us, we become memorable, then we become credible, and they are more open to having a conversation with us.
And that authenticity is really super important, you know, because that you know, the days old where brands were, you know, in the domain of companies only, but now everybody in that organization espouses the brand. So your personal brand really, in terms of how you do, reflects that, you know, in terms of the brand of the company as well. So authenticity is super important. Do you want to speak to that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, authenticity has been around, people have been talking about it for a while, but it's become far more important since the introduction of AI, all of these tools. It is very easy to use AI to produce your content. But what's going to happen going forward in the future is the authenticity, what makes you you is the differential factor that will make you stand out. Even against a competitor who does exactly the same thing as you, it's you, the individual, that will create the difference. And so that being authentic, being real, being honest, I'm very much, anybody who's ever had a message from me will know I'm very much authentic. You know, my connection message currently that I put out to people is, you're probably fed up with the generic connection messages just as much as I am. So I'll tell you what, let's skip that. Check my profile, check our website. If you like what you see, let's come and connect. Yeah. I'm very straightforward. And the amount of people that have actually responded and said, that's such a refreshing connection message.
Yeah.
But look, just be real, be you on this platform. That will set you apart. Don't try and write content that's beyond your knowledge level. Don't try
Yeah.
and create an image that is way beyond where you are. Just be you, and just focus in where you're at that time, the expertise that you can offer, and the help and assistance that you can afford to people that helps you run your business.
That's really, really important as well, and I cannot stress, the importance of, because when people engage and they engage with your company, and also engage with you, the last thing they want to see is something that is reflected differently than what they see on online as well. In terms of just you talk about content, and then I'm talking about, obviously, clearly, I think initially you're talking about prose, just writing stuff wherever it is, and just quickly, and I appreciate, always time, just think about what sort of content, and you talked about some of those three elements, and I understand what you're saying, but if you can define a little bit more, in fact, that would be useful. I mean, some people, I see that war and peace. I read the first two lines and then I'm done, type of thing.
It's true.
And I had one person, they were doing their life story, I'm done. I'm not interested, I've heard it once, fantastic. I don't want to hear it second, 3 or 4 times, down the track. So think about some of the key content, and also, as you well know, video is becoming a real big thing as well, in terms of how the algorithm respects video on LinkedIn. So just dive a little bit deeper in relation to content as well. But before you answer that question, give you a chance to little think about. Again, have the opportunity, please. If there's any questions, then would love to have those questions come onto the platform as well. It's great to have people also comments as well.
Hi, Rob.
Rob, good to have
Rob.
you on the platform today. But yeah, please, if there's any other questions that you have, I'll wrap them all up and then obviously share with Terry as we go through the rest of the podcast as well. So coming back to that question, just dive into the elements of the type of content and what's, because obviously some people don't have that stuff, or they're not great writers or whatever. What can they do to get started? What tools can they have to get them going?
Yeah, number one is you do not need to be an eloquent writer to do content on LinkedIn. I thought that when I first started, and I would stumble and have those moments, probably like everybody listening here has had, where you come to your screen and I'm going to write something for LinkedIn. I know I need to be posting content, and then you sit blankly looking at the screen with just, what do I talk about? Here's a quick and easy tip. A lot of my content comes from the topics that come up in conversations with my clients or with prospects. What are the common questions that they ask? What are the common pain points that they discuss with you? Write about that, because if it's common to them, it's common to a larger audience. And if you're addressing those issues, you will attract those people in, because we're all looking for the answers. We're looking for a quicker way of doing it, a smarter way of doing it. So bring those things in and write about them. Don't be scared to use the AI, but don't let it be you. There's a difference. So I will use AI, and I'll put some topic ideas in, and I'll ask it to expand, and it'll come out with stuff. And sometimes I'll go,
AI, you're talking about ChatGPT or something like that?
ChatGPT, Copilot is my personal favorite right now.
Good.
And I use that. And what I'm using it for is like a sounding board. It's like sitting opposite someone saying, look, I'm thinking of writing a post about this. Give me 3 topic ideas, and blah, blah, and it punches something out, and you think, oh, that just inspired a thought. That's given me something to think about. Another way of taking it is you'll have a topic you want to talk about, and is not forgetting that there are different ways of talking about the same topic. So I was just doing this morning with a client and saying I could take the topic of social selling. Number one, I know I need to teach and educate people about what social selling is, because there's new people coming into the sales industry. There's people who are just catching on. What is social selling? What does that look like on LinkedIn? Teach and educate me. So that might look like a text only, or I might do a slide deck, something like that. Then I could take social selling still as my topic and say, right, here's 3 actionable things. So 3 things you can do on your LinkedIn profile that will help increase the amount of profile views in the next 30 days. Here they are, 3 things. People read it, take it away. But I'm still talking about social selling. Flip that over. I could do a solve pain sort of post. Talk about what the effect is upon a small business or even a larger business struggling to get the sales leads through. What does that look like? How does that affect them? How does that even come down to, we've all been there as salespeople, those months where you're just not hitting the target month after month. There's a pressure comes on you as an individual. And then really unpack that into, do you want rid of these problems? Here's some social selling tips. Give them out. And this is all brings people in. As well as take social selling. What's been my experience in social selling? What have I learned? So I do a post probably a couple of times a year, which talks about, here are the 3 things I wish I'd known when I first started out social selling. And of course, anybody beginning that journey goes, oh, I need to know. This guy's way down the road from me. I need to know. And so that all brings it. But what I've just done is talked about the same topic in different ways. And again, I can then break those down into, well, it can be text only. It could be an image with text. It could be a video. I could put some out as, maybe a question as, what's your opinion on this? And let's do a poll. But it's all talking around the topics that I know my clients, my ideal clients, are interested in. It's what they are looking to upskill in, get better at, improve on. If you're here on LinkedIn for sales, everybody wants to get better at doing that and get more sales opportunities and more conversations secured. And that's what I will address over and over again. But don't put the pressure on yourself to think, I've got to keep writing content, got to keep writing. That pressure will stop you doing it. You will get to that point where you just go, I'm wasting too much time trying to come up with ideas, and inevitably you go, I just won't do it. There's more important things to do. That's fatal, because now your activity on LinkedIn almost crashes and you become invisible on the platform. Your content creates visibility. And so if you can do those 3 posts a week, pinch something from the company page, a news article about your industry sector, a personal post of what you are doing, what you've learned this week, something that's inspired you, anything like that. If you follow my profile, occasionally I'll just put up those quotes. It's just an image with a quote on, and you'd be surprised how many people will just engage with that because they find it encouraging, inspiring, whatever it may be. And just put content out. But I always say it's better to post something rather than nothing.
And that consistency is really important. It's quite funny when I first got involved, and really I was playing with it. And those of you who follow me on LinkedIn, you feel that I've got a load of stuff. The only reason I've got a load of stuff because I wrote a book around business growth, so I've got a load of information and content that I could just churn out day in day out without thinking about it. So I appreciate it's a lot easier for me than a lot of other people. But one thing that I didn't do at the time, I was playing with it. To be fair. Little comment here, little comment there, little post there, whatever it is. And I remember having a conversation with Dean, and he was saying, you got to be consistent, Wayne. You can't let it be consistent. Just try it. Just be consistently posting and see how you get on. And I'll tell you what, it's been a game changer in that respect. And I do 5 days a week. I'll probably do a big long form stuff on the weekend if I can. But that consistency and persistency, continual, has increased visibility no end. And so, well, let's deal with the elephant in the room. I think because everybody expects when you do a content, you're going to have a viral post. All right. Tell me about the hubris of the viral post and what people really should be focusing on.
Yeah, it's like chasing the holy grail, the viral point on LinkedIn. Look, LinkedIn's quite different from other. If I go on the Facebook, you go on your TikToks. Yes, you want your virals, you want your millions of views and impressions, all the rest of it on that content. Look, LinkedIn is about quality, not quantity. We want the right audience engaging with our content. The content is working to create conversation. It poses a question, or it provides information that gets somebody thinking. And what we're doing with our content is starting a conversation in somebody's head that we will join later. And so putting that content out there is don't get caught up in the vanity metrics. In fact, Dean Seddon has just put out a post today which really addresses this really well, and I go check it out. But it's so easy to look. I've spent hours. I've crafted this post. I put it out, and I'm looking for it to get all of these likes, all of these comments, and then we all get ourselves into the point of depression because why? Well, it got 20 likes and it got one comment, and you think, oh my goodness, I spent all that time for that. Look, there's an audience behind your content that you don't see. We nickname them the lurkers.
Yeah.
This group of people view your content. They show up as an impression, but LinkedIn doesn't tell you individually who they are. It'll tell you the job titles grouped together, typically what job titles are looking, what industries, what locations, all that's available, but not the individuals. Your future clients are the people who just view and watch your content. They're learning about you, they're keeping an eye on you, they're making all of assessments about you, about the company, what the products and services are, all of those sort of things. And just keep writing the content that addresses that audience. It's like a hidden audience. But in there are your clients. Today, Maverick's largest client was one of those people who watched for 2 years. 2 years before that person reached out and went, you said something today in a post that really got me, and it's counter to what I thought I believed. Can we talk about it? Today, that is has been for the last 3 years our biggest client. They're there, they're watching, they listen to your videos, they jump in. They just don't give likes and comments, and that is typical. 90% of the platform are like that. So don't discount them. Keep putting the content out. Do it consistently. And just, keep engaging with people. It comes in time.
It's quite interesting, in fact, because I did a post. We do some away days with senior leaders and boards in relation to strategy and growth and all that type of stuff. And so I just did a little post and showing the sort of the strategy away day that a senior team were doing. And on the back of that, out of the blue, somebody DM me in relation to looking to do the same thing for their own team.
Yeah.
And so you're absolutely on the money in the sense that, it's you don't know who those ghosters are, or the ghosts are watching you, And I've been in meetings. I said, oh yeah, I've seen you before. Yeah, I know where have I seen your name, your face? Oh yeah. Oh, LinkedIn. Yeah, I've seen you on LinkedIn. Yeah. And it's how it's amazing how in networking events or business events, people. Oh, I've seen your face and I've seen your stuff. Good stuff. Why don't you like it? Well, it's good stuff anyway.
Yeah, it's just last week I held an event here where I'm based. I had 54 people in the room for this event, and the strange thing was there's people walking in and I'm like, I recognize you. But you realize actually it's because I've been looking at your profile picture so many times over the last few weeks.
There you go.
But it's this, you suddenly get this confusion of like, have we bumped into each other in real life, or was this just LinkedIn?
Yeah.
But the amount of people in that room that said to me, I've been following you and your company for, at least a couple of years. The one person referenced a post I did a year ago. Wow. I said something and I was like, I almost forgot about it. And I was like, did I really say that in the post? And went, yeah, you said this, and that's really stuck with me. And I thought, that's what it's about. That consistency of putting out content. There are individual sentences that you say that where that person is at that time, it sticks in their thinking, and they remember where they read it. They remember where it came from. And those are the people that will keep coming back to your profile. They got value from you for free. Why wouldn't they come back and see if there's more? That's what is happening on LinkedIn all the time.
No, very, very good. Okay, all right. So, conscious of our time, still want to have a little time for questions. And so, if you don't have any questions, and I mean, to be fair, Terry's quite clear, so I'm surprised there's probably not too many questions coming through. But that's okay. It's cool. But I just want to finish off on this final question in terms of what are the do's and don'ts of interacting on LinkedIn. What some of the do's and don'ts that you should do or shouldn't do generally, but in terms of using LinkedIn for getting your business to move forward.
Yeah, there's a number of things that you can do. I think really to recap on a couple first is the do not connect and pitch. Don't do that lazy strategy of let me just find a bunch of people that would be interesting to me, and then let's just send them my sales pitch as soon as we get connected. That's not going to work. It's very failed, and the inevitability of that is that you will genuinely burn through some potentially really good contacts. But because of your approach, they went, I'm not interested, and you'll lose them. When you do engage, be proactive. Don't sit back waiting for people to engage with you, because you think you put up your content and everybody will just swarm to it and they'll start interacting with you and asking you. It doesn't work like that. That creates visibility. You have to be proactive. Actually go out and engage people. Look to initiate conversation with individuals on a human level. Don't go in with this is my business, I think we can help you, would you like a call? Because they're going to go, no, I get 10 of those a day. What's special about you? But you approach people as a human being. Look for things in their profile. What is it? I'll give you an example. A few months ago, there was a particular company, and there was a female in that company that I wanted to get a conversation with. I knew if I could get the conversation with her and convince her, that would be, that would secure the deal. And so I've reached out, I've connected, tried to get the conversation going. Nothing really was happening. We've got the pleasantry. It's nice to be connected. Look forward to bumping into you in the future. We all do that, and we all forget about each other. But this particular day, I went to her profile, and it's Monday morning, and there she is, very proud, medal on her chest. She's just completed a half marathon. And I thought, oh, brilliant. It's about 20 years ago, but I'm not quite as fit as I used to be, but I've done 4 half marathons. So I thought, right, that's my angle. I go in and I just connected with her and I said, hey, congratulations on your half marathon.
Very good.
What did you do with your time? Done 4 of those in my life. Got to ask you, did you hit the wall? I always used to hit it around the 8-9 mile mark. Just totally on common ground interest.
Yeah.
We had an interaction that probably messages went backwards and forwards, 6 or 7 messages backwards and forwards over an afternoon. We built up a rapport and just a neutral base all around half marathons.
Yeah.
And then I just flipped it towards the end and just saying, look, you've probably been on my profile by now. You've seen who I am, what I do. Look, if you ever need any help with LinkedIn, please give me a shout, or at least tell me what are the couple of things that you find challenging, and I'd be more than happy to offer some free advice. We are still talking.
Good.
We are still working and that. And it was just use that information that's there. Yes, it's a business platform, but these are human beings that you're connecting with. These are individuals. And it's these interactions that make you stand out, because I can guarantee most people are not doing this on LinkedIn. And when you do it, suddenly it's like, oh, that's an unusual approach. I don't normally get that. I normally get the sales pitch. Who's this? What are they after? And we go through that whole process, and then you establish yourself. I'm a safe, normal human being who just wants to engage with you. And look, nobody's naive on LinkedIn. We all know it ends up in business, because that's the whole essence of the platform. How you approach that conversation makes all the difference. And over the years, I've just found that if I create that relationship first with the individual, I'll get repeat business over the years. I've got some clients that have come back to us 3 or 4. I've got one client, every time they take an intake, a new intake in their sales team, lifts the phone. Hi, Terry, got 2 new sales guys. Can we get them booked in? Yeah, when do you want to do it? This month. Brilliant. We'll fix a date. And it's why we built the relationship. He trusts us. He knows what we're talking about. And we're just the go-to people for that particular gentleman now.
No, absolutely. And, the amount of times that, it's quite funny that initial conversation bit, that's the bit that most people do struggle with, to be fair, Terry, that little piece. And I love the element of going to people's profiles, see what they're posted, see if there's anything there that resonates with you as well, that you can find a affinity with, and then engage, whether directly on that post or through a direct message with that individual. And for me, that's what I always look for. I will look for who can I engage on that personal level, because that is the entree to developing trust and a relationship going forward as well. So, and that's super important. It's hard on a platform when you're not able to have that direct conversation with them. So that nice soft entree into that contact is super important. Any other tips? And please, before we finish off, if there's any other burning questions, folk, please do put it into the chat as well, and we'll just carry on talking as well, and I'll bring up as necessary. But is any other sort of tips that you could probably talk about in terms of that sort of entree bit for people and getting your ideal clients engaged?
Yeah, getting the ideal clients. Probably a really big one. If you've got a number of people in your team, encourage them to use LinkedIn, if only to just generate and put out some content.
It's a noise guy.
Yeah, we've got a team, our team, what are we now, 35, just under 40 in our team, and 75% of that team will be posting content each day. However, the content that they're posting is generated for them. So most company pages have access to what's called the My Company space. Inside there, you can generate content, park it there, and any of your employees can, with one click, can post it out as their content on their feed. And what you're doing then is just you're leveraging multiple networks and creating brand awareness. So all of that content can be simply just informing people who the company is, the products and services, a few fun elements in there during the week. We tell all of our staff, we want you to post at least 3 times a week. Most of them are doing it 5 times a week. It just creates the noise on the platform. It builds the brand awareness, and it just gets the name out there. And that's a very simple way. And that activity of posting that content in the morning is typically taking them about 5 minutes to do. Come in the morning, get your coffee, sit down, click My Company. Which post shall I put out? One click. It's now up and live on the platform. And you can imagine you've got multiple people in your company doing that. You create brand awareness really, really quickly.
And as a sort of final question coming through in terms of, and maybe people on this audience or people looking at this again on the replay, and they think, well, okay, yeah, but can it really accelerate the growth of my business? Is there any examples, Terry, that you can share where companies actually utilize some of the strategies that you've had and it's really made a unique difference to them? And obviously, I can put my hand up as well, but I want you to share some examples in your network.
A very recent one. I've been working with a gentleman called John Elwell, Jon Elwell. Go and look him up. He has a company called T-Box Tech. And I met and had a really long conversation with John probably well over a month ago. And I gave him a load of tips and advice about his LinkedIn, the way he was using it. Now, he was active on LinkedIn. He's posting some content, but he's getting almost zero engagement. Nobody's doing that. I met up with him last week after about a month. And he said to me, "What have you done to me?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He said, I've never had so many inquiries coming through. And I said, "That's because your visibilities, you've reached a point now where your visibility is good and healthy and people are seeing you." And he says, I didn't believe LinkedIn was this easy. He says, just by being consistent, changing the way I post content, changing the way I talk about it's and they have tripled their leads in a month very, very quickly. Another company called Creative Edge, they're a web design company. So they deal with Wix websites, and their challenge was, how do we find the people who are already using Wix websites? And then we can partner with them, help them upgrade their websites, add all the features in that Wix has to offer. And I quickly showed him that inside of Sales Navigator, there's you can actually select softwares or programs or things that people are using. And we selected all of the Wix categories and suddenly produced a huge list just here in the Northeast of people who are using Wix website, Wix payment portals, Wix, whatever it is. And he literally fell off. It was like, I feel like I should fall off my chair. He said,
"Is that on the Sales Navigator Pro package?"
That's on it's on all the Sales Navigators.
Wow!
And you can go in, and LinkedIn is adding to this list all the time. It started out with about 20 categories on. There's all sorts. People who are using Salesforce, but on different platforms. If this becomes very handy if you're looking to displace somebody who's using a certain software. Yours is better. Right now, you've got a list of companies you can go and talk to and say, "Look, we've got a better solution that will give you this, this, and this." The salespeople are just finding this absolute gold dust to work with this, and this is where LinkedIn is making the difference. We're talking like a couple of clicks, and I've now got that information in front of me. where previously I would have to probably buy data lists. Then I'd have to verify how clean they are and if those people are even current and still active in those companies, places like ZoomInfo and all these places. LinkedIn's giving me live data.
Yep.
Live data on the spot that I can use and you can get through there. And yeah, I could give you loads and loads, but it's be consistent on LinkedIn. The consistency builds a momentum. That momentum turns into opportunities. Yep. And you just have to keep going. That if you're just starting out today, I'm going to give you some truth. It will take around 10 to 12 weeks before you start seeing that first email or that first DM come in.
Yeah.
It just take time to build up. Once you're past that, it's all about just giving everything a little nudge, keep pushing, just keep that momentum moving, and it builds and it builds and it builds. The work gets easier. Most of my clients, we work on a strategy where it's 30 minutes a day on LinkedIn, and most of them will be generating 3 to 5 leads every single week.
Yep.
30 minutes a day.
Very good. Thank you. Conscious of our time now is running away as always. But no, there's some fantastic examples as well. I just want to just sort of close with the, the 3 top elements I've sort of written down in the Blue Peter style, one we did earlier. But hopefully it gives you elements of, where this discussion has gone. Again, always in terms of growing your network, and again, that focus around your ideal clients. And those clients where you're able to provide a solution to their pain, really use Sales Navigator as a means of attracting and identifying those key clients. And Terry has said it so many times, that ability to post consistently content on a regular basis. And it could be a one-liner, it could be a post, it could be something that you're doing, it could be something that, is about, a pain point that you've solved for a client, a testimonial, whatever it is, but that consistency, at least 3 times a week would be good as well.
Yeah.
And that final third one, don't ghost people, engage with people, meet them on a personal level. I love that example of engaging with an ideal client in their post, resonating with them in Terry's case in terms of the marathon, and then using that offline on the DM side to build a relationship, build a conversation, more importantly, build trust. So, LinkedIn is a powerful platform for doing that. And I hope that, you found some of the points that Terry has brought of value as well. So thank you again. Just a couple of things I just wanted to talk, and Terry, you may want to just give some comments in relation to sort of a workshop that you're doing anyway in Manchester. So you may want to just have a quick one on that one, please.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we've got an event coming up in Manchester on the 14th of May. It's Growth Titans, which is a section of our business. And we're bringing together some real key speakers talking about AI. I'm just reminding myself, I'm flicking through now. Who's there again? We've got people in affiliate marketing, AI. We're talking about content, lead generation. So it's going to be a really packed day with some expert voices that you'll get to listen and learn from on that day. Currently, I think I believe right now there's an early bird of 125 on there. There is a limit on the amount of people that can register. I think it's capped at 100. But these days are fantastic. It's a way of just getting in and giving yourself over, push out all the phones out of the way, focus in, and really dig deep into some stuff that you will take away and will help your business and will help you work smarter, help you work more effectively, and achieve the sort of things that you've set out to do in business.
Perfect. Great. And I'll put the link in the chat as well for you all, so you can do that, or you can contact Terry directly as well. And from my perspective as well, again, remember the social selling element is one element of the whole business growth narrative. And what we do, we really help companies to really think through strategically what that looks like, and where Terry and his team and others we bring into play in terms of that tactics to deliver the strategic growth that you need in your business as well. So we're really, really good at helping good teams to become good leaders in their organization. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, then we're offering our free business coaching session. And hopefully that should help you to really get to grips with some of the things that we do and how we've helped companies to become one of the top business advisors in the UK as well. So give you an idea of that. And finally, again, if you want to contact us, you can screenshot this, or as always, get hold of us on LinkedIn. Follow us on LinkedIn.
You can come and find us there.
There you go. And again, just say thank you so much, Terry. It's been a pleasure having you
It's been good.
Joining us today on this podcast. Thank you, folks, for getting on the call as well. Our time is done. So thank you again. And we wish you well.
Pleasure.
Have a pleasant afternoon. And also, you can get the replay as well on all those media platforms. They'll be still there forevermore. But anyway, thank you again. Thank you, Terry.
Brilliant. Take care, everyone. Thank you very much.